Whoop! Oh, okay. Let's check about Ice Planet Barbarians. The antlers aren't in shot. I guess they're not antlers, they're antenna. Anywho, hello friends, my name is Morgan M. Steele, I'm an author, and today we are talking about alien smut. I mean, Ice Planet Barbarians. First and foremost, here's the giant content warning. If you're okay with these topics and you want to continue watching, welcome aboard. We're gonna have quite the time today, I believe. I'd always kind of known about Ice Planet Barbarians, you know? Like, the book talk girlies talk about them from time to time, and they're just like, yep, spicy alien book, and that literally is exactly what it is. That is, you know, exactly what I read. It's exactly as advertised, but I had been off-put by the older, like, the photoshopped looking covers of, like, just blue guys, blue chest bodies, you know? And I was like, I don't know about that. I don't really think that that is my thing. But I was at Barnes & Noble several months ago, and they had the nice re-released illustrated cover versions of the books. This beautiful thing. And I was like, you know what, not to judge a book by its cover, because, you know, you're not supposed to do that, but I did, and I liked the look of this a lot better than the other ones, and I'm a paperback girly, so I appreciate having a physical copy. And so I picked it up, and I figured, you know, what the hell? What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? And I have been in, like, the biggest reading slump this year. So my first read of the year, The Ravens, did not really like it. I think I gave it 2.5 stars. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, loved the movie. Check out the video I did with Movie Turtle on that. Didn't really care for the book, and I think I gave that either 2.5 or 2 stars. And I just really, you know, wasn't into reading this year, and I really wanted to be. It was one of my resolutions. I really wanted to get back into reading, start reading books again, because that's who I used to be. Like, in high school, I read all the time for fun. I devoured books, like during my algebra classes. I just, you know, I haven't had that spark for it lately, and I think college kind of killed that for me, just like all the academic reading I had to do. On top of reading my own books when I was editing them, like, I just really didn't want to read anything else aside from copious amounts of fan fiction. But, you know, that is neither here nor there. So it's not like I wasn't reading, I just wasn't reading books. And this book is the one that broke me out of that reading slump. So I felt like I had to talk about it. So I'm gonna get into spoilers. I'm gonna try to talk really carefully about this because, you know, YouTube terms of service and whatnot, but I'm not gonna get into any of the, like, detail, okay? Like, we're not going there. It's alien smut. Like, if you want to read it, great. Like, that's exactly what you're getting. It's well written, I will say that. But, the smut parts I'm talking about. The book in general is also, you know, generally pretty well written. But if that's what you're here for, that's what you're gonna get. So just, you know, go read the book if you don't care about the plot. But we are gonna talk about the plot, because I think it's just really cool that it has one, and it's not just straight up for 300 pages. So, the Ice Planet Barbarian series, there are, I believe, 16 books. That was the solid number I was given. And then also, there's like a bunch of novellas and like side books, so I think technically there's like 20-something altogether if you include all of that other stuff. I don't know exactly where the epilogue stuff fits into that count, if it counts like separate, because this one does come with 2 epilogues. There's like a bonus epilogue, and then there is a honeymoon section, neither of which I read for this video. I just wanted to review the main book, so we're just talking about the main section of the book. Yes, they're written by Ruby Dixon. Legend, icon, author of our time. What a lady. And yeah, they are in the process of, like, re-releasing these. What publishing house is this through? Looks like it's Penguin. But yeah, so they are in the process of re-releasing the series with these nice new illustrated covers, and I really do like them a lot. I like the look of these a lot more than the previous covers. So yeah, like I said, spoilers ahead for those of you who actually like want to read the book. If you don't and you're just like morbidly curious, I guess let's go. We're getting right into it. So we start with a girl named Georgie. This is Georgie. She is from Orlando, Florida. She has recently been abducted by aliens, not the big blue friendly kind of aliens. They're described as like ball-headed aliens. They're like your typical like big eye, big head kind of aliens. And so she's been abducted with a bunch of other women. They are being treated like cattle, basically, and being taken to another planet. They don't know exactly why. One of them has a communicator like stapled to her ear, which is horrible. And so she is the only one that understands what's going on. I forget her name. The rest of them are just like in there, like covered in their own filth for a couple of weeks, and it's just really nasty, really horrible. So they are planning a mutiny. They are planning to overpower these aliens and get control of the ship, to go back to Earth. And something happens. The cargo hold that they are in disconnects from the ship. They are launched into this other planet and they crash land in their compartment. So they, are stuck there. They're not sure why. They're not sure exactly for how long, and they're not sure if those other aliens are going to come back to get them. And so, the girls are scared, they're cold, they're gathering what little supplies they have, but they basically have nothing because they were prisoners. So they are trying to make a plan. They did manage to kill the guard that went into their cage, so they have like his jacket, and so they elect Georgie to go out into the snow, see what she can find, see what she can see, and kind of get their bearings of this planet that they've crash landed on. So they give her the jacket, she goes out into the cold and wanders around and tries to figure out what's going on. But it's very clear that like this world is like almost not inhabitable to humans. It's cold. It is so cold, like Hoth, basically, like ice planet. Ice planet, Barbarians, ice planet. Covered in snow, there's like weird trees, there's these weird like monster animals that keep trying to kill her. Yeah, so she goes out there to try to figure out what's going on. She falls into a hunting trap and is unconscious. She, passes out. And then she is found by Vectel. So, I believe that is how it's pronounced. Again, a lot of these are like alien made up words. So I gonna do my very best. If I'm incorrect, feel free to correct me in the comments down below. I would love to hear from the Ice Planet Barbarian girlies. I would like to become one of you. So, teach me the things. So anyway, Vectel is the love interest. He is a 7-foot tall alien. He's blue. He's very muscly. He's like a hunter. I believe he has like long hair. It's like black hair. I guess it's dark blue on the cover. It's like dark hair, like long dark. That's, you can kind of see him there. You can see his torso. He has massive horns. Oh, his eyes glow. I forgot about his eyes glowing. His eyes glow, I believe blue as well. And so I kind of picture him like Frost Giant Loki from What If, just like big, tall, blue man with horns. That, so that, if you want to use that mental image, that's what I was using, so. And he also, he has a tail. It was giving me Nightcrawler vibes a little bit. Love Nightcrawler. And he has ridges all over his body. And I do mean all over his body. So he finds Georgie out in the snow. He takes her into this cave. And he wakes her up in an unconventional way, one might say, with his head between her legs. And she knows she shouldn't be into it, but she is. But she knows she shouldn't be, but she is. So she's, battling with that internally. And so Vectel kind of imprints on Georgie, where basically she is like his soulmate. And eventually we learn that these aliens have something inside them called a Kui, Khui, which is like this glowing, like kind of parasite, but it has like a symbiotic relationship with them. It keeps them alive, and I'll get more into that later. But basically his Kui chooses Georgie. So he, is head over heels for this little human girl, and he is very concerned about her because she is fleshy and pink and defenseless, basically, on this crazy ice planet. And so when they, meet each other, they really can't communicate because they, obviously speak very different languages. But I really, really like how this is handled in the book. So when we are in Georgie's point of view, so it's told in first person. I should have mentioned this earlier, but it is a dual perspective book, so it not only has Georgie chapters, but it has Bechtel chapters too, and I really like those as well. When we're in Georgie's head, I really like the way she's written as well. I really like her voice. She is, kind of spunky, kind of snarky, but she cannot understand a single word he says, and it's really hard to kind of decipher the words the way that they're written. I'll see if I can put some excerpts up on the screen. But, she cannot understand him. I think it's really interesting how it's handled from his perspective because we do kind of understand what Georgie is saying, the way that it's written out. You can tell kind of what she's saying, even though it's spelled really weird and even though, he does not understand her. And so I think Ruby does an excellent job, conveying both of those things, letting us understand Georgie, but also letting us know that he can't, and just the way that she handles that I think is really brilliant. So yeah, she's trying to communicate with him. He doesn't get any of it. He is focused on getting her food, keeping her warm, getting her back to his cave, his home cave. And so she obviously wants to go back to the ship because there's a dozen other girls there that are cold and starving and freezing to death. So she is trying to get him to go back to the ship and he is trying to get her to go to his cave. And they are just really not, communicating, but she, she's desperate about it. She's like, come on, we have to go to this ship. She doesn't say ship, she says up the mountain because that's where the ship had crashed. And he's like, okay, fine, I guess we will go there if you want to go there so frickin' bad. And so he's like, we'll go tomorrow. Georgie goes to sleep, Bechtel goes out to hunt while she's sleeping, and he finds one of her crewmates dead in the snow. And so then he's like, oh shit, that's why she wanted to go back to the mountain so bad. There are more of her. This is not good. So yeah, they go back to the ship, find the other girls. They are really not doing well. Georgie has been warm and fed and taken care of and pleasured by this giant alien man, and they don't have any food. They are starving, freezing to death. So they're just like, oh my god, we thought you died out there. And she's like, nope, I have an alien man now. She's still kind of hesitant about putting a label on it, and meanwhile he is already using the words for yep, that's my mate, that, all that kind of stuff. And so the girl with the translator is like, he thinks you're his mate, right? And all of that stuff. And so we get some fun banter there. But basically, Bechtel, he gets some food for the other girls. He hunts for them. He brings them back some food. And then he promises that they are going to go back to his home cave, get more of his men, and then come back with help to rescue the other ladies. So they head out towards Bechtel's home cave. And on the way there, they stop at something that Bechtel calls his ancestral cave. But Georgie notices when she gets there, it is a spaceship. It's metal, the walls are metal, there's buttons and screens and all sorts of stuff covered in thick layers of ice because it's been there for a while. But it's a spaceship, and she's like, oh my god, this is a spaceship. We could maybe use this to get home, because she is still focused on going home, which makes Bechtel kind of sad because he's like, this is my space wife, and I don't want my space wife to leave. So, they have kind of differing, goals, which build some tension. Very nice. I love this book. So anyway, Georgie boots up the system somehow, and it is speaking to her in English, and it knows all of the Earth languages, it knows a bunch of alien languages, and it's speaking to her, and it gives her the information that she didn't know before. So the Kui that Bechtel keeps talking about, the thing in his chest, it explains that to her. It explains that the air is poisonous, and so most people only have a week to live in it because it slowly kills you. There's a chemical in it, but the Kui serves as a filter, and so it allows you to live on the planet, but then you can't really leave the planet. So she's conflicted because there's no way she can get home in the next week, unless the ball-headed aliens come back and they manage to take over their ship somehow. But her best chance is going to be to get one of these things and stick around for a while, and that's kind of the decision she comes to. But while she has, the access to the computer, she also gets a download of information, so she can finally understand Bechtel. And I do think this is important for the relationship, but I was kind of sad because, I liked the way that they were communicating before, where, they were teaching each other words, and it was, slow progress, but it was progress. They were, learning how to speak to each other, and I just thought that was really sweet and really fun to explore, and so I was kind of sad when and it was just like, yep, here's his language, you can just talk to him now. And I was like, ah, so little disappointing, but you know, I understand why it had to happen. Like, obviously they need to be able to like speak to each other effectively. And so after they're done like spending the night at this cave, they head out, they get back to the home cave where Vectel and the rest of his people live, and Georgie learns that there is a scarcity of women. There's like 4 women in the tribe, and Vectel this whole time has been like, oh my god, there is a whole ship full of women out there. This is the perfect opportunity. Not only am I getting a mate, all my bros are getting mates too. This is gonna be so great for us. And so Georgie is understandably very upset about this because she's like, these women, these are not your wives. You understand? Like, you can't force them to be into you, okay? Like, you can't. Like, if they have their own free will, but you can't, like, force them to be into you. And Vectel's like, I will try to tell the boys this. And, like, you know, he tries to, and they have all sorts of different temperaments. I assume that these are all of the characters that will be in the sequels. I think that this, as a plot point, sets up the sequels really, really perfectly. You know, she knew what she was doing, introducing all of these potential couples. So, you know, I think just it really effectively sets that up. But anyway, he rallies a group of them, and he's like, we gotta go get these women. They may or may not be your space wives. Could be great for us. And they are obviously very excited about this because, like I said, 4 women in the whole tribe, and there's like 32 men or something like that. So it is like a small tribe. Also, I forgot to mention, Vectel is the chief. He's like the chief of these people. I forget the alien species name. Yeah, so Georgie is upset that like their motivation is just like to use these women as space wives, and you know, everything that comes with that. But she decides that their safety is most important of all, so like she'll have to just kind of deal with that when it comes. Like, the most important thing is to go get them and then figure it out later. They go back to the ship with my neighbor just biked in past our driveway. So they go back to the crash landed ship to get the rest of the ladies. Some of them have little flirtations with the aliens perhaps, and then also Georgie drops the news on them that not only are there like, what, 6 women in there, there's also 6 more in the wall that have been sleeping this whole time, and so they do decide to wake those women up as well and take all of them back so they don't get taken by the bald-headed aliens to do, you know, whatever they were planning on doing with them originally. So they rescue all the women, they leave the spaceship, and then while they're on the way back, they see one of the creatures that like they have to kill to get all of the Qui, so like it's like a big thing. Did I write down what it's called? I did not. So there's like this big monster thing basically, and inside of it, it has like a whole bunch of Qui, and so that's how you get them, is you kill it and then you take them out and then you put it in you, and it's like a little cut like on your collarbone, and then you put the thingy in and then it goes in your body. And Georgie passes out like when this happens. Obviously, I would too. And so she wakes up, and then I believe they're like back in the cave. I don't know where they are, but she wakes up, she's okay. Vectel is like comforting her and like saying how proud he is of her. And then she finally feels like the attraction that he has been feeling to her the whole time. And so the Qui has been like driving him with this crazy like need to be with her. And so she finally feels that too, even though like emotionally she was like falling in love with him, getting to know him, depending on him. But now she like feels that like internal need that he's been feeling this entire time. And so, you know, their relationship is very like reciprocated now. And so he's like, yep, all the girls took their Quis, like we are great, we're doing great, it's all because of you, Georgie, like you led the way, and then the rest of the women were brave enough to follow. So yeah, that's, you know, that's where we leave off. And then I do have a little note about the epilogue, which, again, I have not read yet. I'm sure it'll be great. But it's long. Like, look at that. It's like 100 pages, and it's 2 epilogues. So there's, like, Georgie Goes Hunting is the bonus epilogue, which I'm assuming is, like, a special edition thing. Usually there's, like, extra little chapters, and it looks like it does alternate between the 2 of them. And then I know there's another one. Maybe I missed the title page of it, but it's, like, their honeymoon. So, oh, I didn't even notice this. Oh my god. So there's a little glossary of all of the characters. That is so nice. Oh, they're the Sakwi tribe. That's what they're called. Very cool. Yeah, so it's got all of the families and all of the human women too, which is the one. Oh, and it tells you which ones are the ones that were in the stasis tubes. So I'm trying to find which one has the translator. Yep, Kira. Kira is her name. She has the metallic translator stapled to her ear. Oh, there's a sneak peek from the next book. I wish there was like an alien glossary. I feel like that could be kind of useful as well. But it does, I feel like this glossary that's in here, that I didn't know was in here until right now, does explain most of the stuff pretty well. So that's good to know. I didn't know it was all the way back there. I prefer the glossary at the front of a book, personally, just so I can reference it. But I understand why, with the character stuff, you would put it at the end because it's all like spoilery. But if you're doing like, you know, definitions of like your fantasy words and stuff, I would put that at the beginning, just as a personal thing. But anyway, yeah, so there is an epilogue, and you know, just, it's there. There's bonus content, very nice. So we're gonna get into the things that I liked. First and foremost, there is a ton of plot for a book that I was under the impression was entirely smut. Like, I just went on for, what, like 15 minutes about the plot of this book? Like, there's a lot of plot. So I really, really appreciate that it's not just, like, hardcore scenes. Like, there are quite a few, but, you know, it's not just that. Like, there is, like, a story, and you can tell that Ruby put, like, a lot of thought into these people and their culture and the planet that they inhabit, you know, and all of that stuff. But yeah, the smut that's there, very well written. Highly recommend. There's a lot of size difference stuff if you're into that, because he's like 7 feet tall, so I think it would be impossible to not have that in there. But yeah, if you're into the size difference thing, got you covered, girl. I also think like the language that is used for like the prose of the book is like simple, but in a way that really benefits the book. I like, you know, very complicated, intricately written books as much as the next person, but they are kind of slow for me to read. Like, I have to stop and Google things quite a bit and just make sure that I'm fully understanding things. And so this is not one of those books. You can breeze right through it. You will know what every single word means. And I think that's really nice to have sometimes. I just think that, you know, helps you move along. It's not, you know, for everyone. It's a taste thing, but I really do like it. And I also think that Georgie's voice is really fun to read, like usually with main characters, especially in the first person. Sometimes I get the ick from them, you know, if they're like written a certain way, but I never really had that with Georgie. Like, she was always just kind of like snarky and funny and quirky, and I really did like reading her voice. But even more than that, I liked reading Vectel's voice, which I was not expecting. I thought the whole thing would be in Georgie's point of view, and so when we got to that first Vectel chapter, I was really excited about it, and especially like, you know, reading all of his stuff, reading the way that he describes stuff, reading the way that he speaks, like, I really do, you know, I loved his voice, and I loved getting to know him, like, internally. So we didn't just have to see him from Georgie's perspective and think, oh, like, this big alien guy is kind of stupid. Like, we know that he has intelligent thoughts, and we know, like, what's going through his head, and we're not just stuck with Georgie's perspective of the situation. Like I said, I think this book really sets up the sequels really well. Like, you know exactly what they're going to be about. It's going to be about those other ladies and their alien guys, and I think that that's so fun. And it'll be fun to get to know, especially the other women on the ship that were with Georgie, like Kira, the communicator girl, and the other main girl whose name escapes me. Like, it'll be fun to get to know them and to see, like, things from their perspective, so, you know, I'm excited to see where that goes. And also, like, the planet itself provides like a challenge, because it is like hard to survive in an icy tundra, and it's just covered in snow. There's like all these monsters that want to kill them, and like the girls have to figure out what they can eat and like all of that kind of stuff, because the Sakwi just eat their food raw. And so Georgie is like, no, I have to cook this, and Bechtel's like, why are you burning it? You're ruining the food. And so, you know, I think their setting really does give them a lot to struggle with as well, which adds to the tension, adds to, you know, the urgency of the situation. And even though, you know, Bechtel is like more familiar with this land, like, it is a struggle for him too. Like, it's not easy to live on this ice planet. And I think that it really just like adds another layer to everything. Yeah, I don't know, it really snuck up on me. Like, this genuinely is my favorite read of the year. Like, I just had an absolute blast reading it, and it was really fun. It was just really fun in every way, like, you know, the plot, the characters, the other stuff, but like, it just was a really fun ride. As for things I didn't like, I really can't, honestly, I don't have any major gripes with it. I do think the ending is a bit abrupt for the actual book, but I guess that's, you know, that's what the epilogues are for. So that could be something that the epilogues fix, and I might, you know, let you know when I finish those and see if that changes anything, but, you know, ending's just a tiny bit abrupt. I felt like I would just like another chapter of them, like, settling in together, and, like, all the girls settling into this lifestyle together. I feel like that really would have tied it off really nicely for me. But like I said, that might be in the epilogues, so I don't know. But yeah, I really like the world that Ruby has built here, and I really can't, you know, wait to explore it some more. So speaking of which, would I read the sequel? I bought 2 of them, so I would frickin' hope so. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, I picked up books 2 and 3 after my birthday, which was December 12th. Woo, happy birthday, Morgan. Anyway, The Barbarians Prize, which is book 2, and then Barbarian Mine, which is book 3. So I don't know. Harlow and, oh, Tiffany! I believe Tiffany is the other girl I was talking about, the one that's like good friends, question mark, with Georgie. You know, they're all prisoners, but you know, she's the one that she's closest to. And then Harlow, oh, she must be one of the Tube girls. Okay, cool. Anyway, I'm excited to read these. I will probably make another video. We'll see. It'll probably be next year. I don't know exactly when. I don't know if I'll save them for the end of the year again and maybe read like 3 or 4 more of them and do one big Ice Planet Barbarians extravaganza. Let me know if you want to see that, and I can, you know, plan accordingly. I do have some other books I want to read next year, but we will get to those when I get to them. Final thoughts. So, like I said, it's been a rough reading year for me. It's been a really rough reading year. I, you know, read 2 books that I really didn't vibe with and I wanted to vibe with really bad, and this one smutty alien book saved my year. I read some good fan fictions as well, but I really needed a good book, and so this is the one. She saved me. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you, Ruby Dixon. My rating of this book, 5 stars. Sorry, not sorry. I had a blast. I will not apologize. It was so fun. It was such a fun time. Not like that. Not like that. It's, you know, it's really... Have you read any of the Ice Planet Barbarian books? Are there any other books like this, in this similar vein, that you would recommend to me? Like, let me know in the comments down below. I've been thinking about checking out Stolen by the Orc Commander. We'll see. I like orcs. I'm into orcs. We could, you know, we can work with it. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day. And as always, take your meds, drink your water, and I'll see you next week.